You're watching WCIU TV, Channel 26 Chicago, W33AR, Channel 33 Rockford, W65BT, Channel 65 Milwaukee, and W69BT, Channel 69 South Bend.
The Stock Market Observer now presents the Market Wrap-Up, an in-depth look at the many facets and aspects of the factors affecting today's stock and financial markets.
Hello again and welcome to the Wrap-Up with Audrey Shimp. How you doing, Audrey?
Just fine, Jack.
And Kurt Renz?
Well, Jack, those who look to the afternoon of December 31st to get a clue how the January effect is going to turn out are going to be disappointed. We've had a sell-off here late in the day. We'll have details in a little bit.
Okay, Kurt. White House calls a meeting to unveil the government Cold War radiation tests. Upjohn defends its sleeping pill Halcyon, and Disney may close the French theme park. These stories now, Audrey, with a look at the business headlines. Audrey?
Jack, in the business news headlines, the Clinton administration may lift the trade embargo on Vietnam. Philadelphia survey sees moderate growth in 1994. Record high lumber prices are expected in 1994, and UAL pilots are likely to approve United Airlines purchase. More on business after Jack and I bring you the news.
The White House is aiming to lift the veil of secrecy covering the government's Cold War radiation tests on humans. Officials from 4 federal agencies are being called to a White House meeting Monday to work out a plan to disclose the agency's role in radiation testing.
Upjohn is defending its sleeping pill Halcyon, saying it's safe and very effective when used as directed. The pharmaceutical maker has been hit with a $1 billion lawsuit, accusing it of concealing alleged side effects that can cause dangerous or violent behavior.
Mortgage rates are up a little in the latest weekly Freddie Mac survey. The average note rose to 7.2% from 7.17% a week earlier. None of the figures included the widespread lender surcharges called points, which hike the upfront profit for lenders while increasing the overall cost of the loan.
Rising interest rates last month prompted investors to cut back sharply on the amount of money that they put into mutual funds. The investment company Institute says net cash flow into long-term funds fell from almost $26 billion in October to around $15 billion in November.
Disney's amusement park in France is doing so badly, the company reportedly is willing to consider shutting it down. A French magazine quotes Michael Eisner as saying, "The key will be whether Disney and its creditors can come to terms on refinancing the debt linked with the poor attendance."
The name that was tough to remember is now history. Primerica today fades away as the company's merger with the Travelers takes hold. The corporate marriage makes one of the largest financial service companies and keeps the Travelers name.
BEI Holdings and Amresco Holdings say their merger has been completed. The new company formed by the merger is one of the largest asset management acquisition firms in the nation. As of September 30th, the two companies had combined assets of $153 million, cash and receivables of $70 million, and a net worth of $87 million.
The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System has approved the acquisition of American Bank shares and the Eagle Insurance Agency of Mankato, Minnesota by the First Bank System Incorporated. American Bank Shores has combined assets of $120 million. Eagle Insurance has annual premium revenue of $3.2 million. First Bank expects the transaction to close February 28th of 1994.
As of tomorrow, most shops in Russia will stop accepting what has become the currency of choice, the American dollar. The hard currency ban was ordered by the central bank in an effort to strengthen the ruble and to help stabilize Russia's financial system.
A new poll finds Americans think 1994 will be a good year for them financially. The Associated Press survey says 52% expect to have more money, but they're still worried about job opportunities in their communities. Partly sunny skies the rest of the day, warmer temperatures, a high in the upper 30s. Tonight, increasing cloudiness, 50-50 chance of rain late, not as cold, a low in the mid-30s. New Year's Day, rain likely, changing to light snow or flurries, ending in the afternoon, colder with temperatures falling into the low 30s. And the remainder of the New Year's weekend, a chance of snow by Sunday night. Also a chance of snow on Monday, but Tuesday should be dry. 36 degrees at the lakefront, also 36 at Midway, 37 at O'Hare. The humidity, 67%. The wind's out of the southwest at 7. The barometer, 30.90 and falling. So not a bad way to ring in the new year. Sunny skies today, maybe some rain tonight, but at least warmer temperatures.
Good. Okay. See you later, Audrey. This is the wrap-up. Now Kurt Renz with his complete market report. Kurt?
Well, Jack, kind of a bad way to end the year on Wall Street as we had the Dow selling off here in the afternoon. Not the way you want to see it going into the new year. Many want to see momentum carrying into the strong first few days of January, in which you often get a rebound from tax selling. Might have been tax selling late in the day. Then again, it may have been others who were uncertain whether or not we've reached a peak, since, of course, the Dow hit records earlier this week, along with a number of other indexes. Let's take a look at the chart of today's trading on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Later on in about 20 minutes, we'll get you the figures on how the Dow moved throughout the year and lesser periods of time. But the industrials hit a peak around 1 o'clock today, up more than 16 at that time at 3792.04, not quite into record territory. Later on, though, here at the end of the day, we closed at the low of the day, down 21.23 at 3754.65, moving downward at least a point. Allied Signal, Caterpillar, Disney, and GE. Transports down 3.86, no point movers there. Utilities down 0.79, despite Consolidated Natural Gas being up 1 1/4. The trend 1.54 above 1, indicating selling pressure. However, the tick a positive 110 and the ticky a negative 18. So we're going out with mixed indicators there. Advancers 1179. Now they were ahead of decliners 888, unchanged 615. Up volume 66 million, down volume 76.5 million. Total volume light, and what we were expecting that on this, which is a holiday for many, 169 million. NYSE down 0.64, but look at this. The smaller stocks did well. We had a sell-off in the blue chips in the afternoon, not on the AMEX or the NASDAQ. AMEX up 4.63, NASDAQ up 5.76, but these are the two indexes we have up here who still had quite a ways to go to hit a record. So they're trying to play a little catch-up this afternoon. S&P 100 down 2.28. March S&P's down 2.65. S&P 500 down 2.10, yielding a premium of 0.56. We expect a premium around 0.80. March T-bonds down 3/32. March T-bills flat. March dollar index up 0.17. February gold and crude oil did not trade in New York today. The CRB index up 0.15. Should have mentioned there was one other stock index up there that has a ways to go to a record, and that's the utilities, of course. And that's a rundown on the activity on Wall Street on the final trading day in 1993. We'll take a look at a few more numbers later in the program. Jack?
Yes, Kurt. It's the wrap-up, which continues with Kurt Renz talking with Greg Nye right after this.
Tired of paying high commissions? I don't blame you. There's absolutely no reason why a knowledgeable investor should have to pay a full commission broker just to enter orders, especially when you can use our AccuTrade system and only pay 3 cents a share commission. It just makes good sense. For instance, buy 3,000 shares of a $20 stock and pay a commission of $90, just 3 cents per share. And with AccuTrade, you can enter orders and obtain quotes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from anywhere with just a simple touch-tone phone. It's easy and it's fast. Pull out your last monthly statement from your full commission broker and compare not only the commission rates, but also take a look at all those extra charges. They add up. If you're doing all the work, maybe it's time to pay yourself.
You only need a minimum of $5,000 equity to open and maintain your account, and the minimum charge is just $48. Call this 800 number today and connect with AccuTrade, America's deep discount broker, member SIPC.
In business, a lot can happen. If you want to keep up every week, you have a choice. Not Forbes, not Fortune. You can read Business Week, or you can read a week of the Wall Street Journal. Either way, you'll find out all you need to know. The question is, how much time are you willing to spend in the process? Business Week is designed for busy people. One look at the cover and you'll know exactly where to turn inside. A quick scan of the contents page and you'll have all the events of the week that interest you.
Now is the time to subscribe to Business Week, because right now you could get 28 issues of Business Week for the low rate of $25.95. a savings of more than 66% off the cover price. And with your paid subscription, we'll send you this compact cordless data bank free. Here's how to subscribe.
Call 1-800-847-5300 today to receive 28 issues of Business Week for only $25.95. That's 1-800-847-5300.
And hello again, I'm Kurt Renz, being joined by Greg Nye. Greg is the technical analyst with Kemper Securities here in Chicago. Well, Greg, sell-off today when many were hopeful that a rally we saw earlier this week would continue. Was that of any concern to you?
I don't think so. I am, like many others, surprised that we did sell off late in the day. A very thin audience, so as you pointed out in your market report, I wouldn't care to read a lot into tape action. With the level of volume that we had in today's session.
Well, of course, we had the AMEX and the NASDAQ moving up nicely and an advanced declining ratio looking good.
Still positive, and that is symptomatic of the type of market we've been in, where we've had one that's, in my estimation, at the latter stages of an up bias that's been going on for a great length of time. And the transition phase is probably a good definition for 1993. The technical picture, as I see it, is much closer to the north end of the equation, much closer to the things you would associate with top-type readings. We're not in that territory, but a push early next year, a big, strong push at the beginning of next year could easily create some of the things that we saw coincidental to the last round of peaks in mid-October. Overbought, overvalued, overowned, institutional cash reserves, 3.7%, relatively low. And I think that'll be the trick in the first part of next year, is to try to be sensitive to those type of readings should they develop, especially in the first part of the year.
You brought with you a chart, and it goes back more than 3 years, basically
Yes.
covers this particular bull market we've been in. What is it telling you, Greg?
Well, this is a chart of the S&P 500, a weekly high-low close that incorporates the last major low in the latter stages of 1990, the Persian Gulf low, if you will. And I've drawn two trend channels on here, the trend line support going back to that major low, and we've really broken underneath that solid black line. The trend channel, the dotted lines, encompasses all of 1993's trading, and it suggests to me that we're in some kind of a change, that the primary uptrend for this phase, the low coincidental to the Persian Gulf that was fueled by the major decline in interest rates, is beginning to get behind us, that we're due for a transition. I think that the next major up leg, hopefully during 1994, will be an earnings-driven environment. But this chart suggests that we've lost momentum and we're vulnerable to some kind of a shift, and I think that shift could easily be a correction in the first part of next year.
Greg, it's normal for a top in the market to be more of a bogging down than the sharp V shape that we saw there when
Yes.
one bear market ended and a bull market began.
And I think that this market is showing the signs of one that is really losing momentum. I think one of the keys for next year will be to take a hands-on approach. I'm a firm believer that the definition of long-term is moving towards 6 months, and I think that's just reflective of all the changes that go on in a world where we're so interconnected to our trading partners politically, economically, in business fashion, and also the behavior of the majority of investors, both institutional and individuals. So I think next year the key will be to listen to the message of the market, have a game plan, and understand that the market is smarter than you or I. And if whether you're long or short or both, and the market sends a message that you're on the wrong side, you better respond to it, because as we've seen with individual issues, the penalties are severe. The mistake du jour syndrome, we've talked about that in the past, and I don't see where that's going to change. So I think stock selection and a willingness to maneuver is going to be key to investing success next year.
Okay, and listen to the message of Greg Nye on Alternate Fridays.
You pay me a high compliment. Thank you.
Okay. Andy, no, you have been marvelous this year. You were looking for generally a narrow range with perhaps an upward bias. You've been here about a year now, and that's basically what we had this year.
Well, in hindsight, it's been borne out so far, knock on wood.
Yes, you kept calling for boring moves, and that's what it's been.
That's what it's been.
Maybe it'll be more exciting next year. Oh, maybe folks don't want that. But how about the excitement over the weekend? The Bears' last game of the year, for sure. And what are you looking for?
Well, I had an opportunity visiting my folks over this past weekend to watch the Rams mail it in. I think the Bears will win. Bears have more to play for. 26-10. Last chance to be right, and the Bears' last chance also.
Even though they'll just be playing perhaps a lot of scrubs trying to make next year's team?
But more incentive than the Rams playing for the #1 draft pick.
Ah, reverse incentive in that case. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a Happy New Year, Greg.
Happy New Year to you, too.
That was Greg Nye. Greg is the technical analyst with Kemper Securities here in Chicago. I'm Kurt Wren. Stay tuned. Jack, Audrey, and Steve will be back with more in just a minute.
Do you know what you need to know about managing your money? Take the Wall Street Journal Personal Finance Test and find out. How can you correct an inaccurate credit rating? Why are April and October the most popular months for buying CDs? How long is a personal check valid? You'll find the answers in this free book, The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Personal Finance. The guide is filled with information, from financing your new car to refinancing your home. There's even information on how to lower your taxes. It's yours free when you subscribe to The Wall Street Journal. Every business day, The Wall Street Journal gives you the news, analysis, and insights you need to make the right decisions for your business, your career, your future. Subscribe now to The Wall Street Journal. Take advantage of this introductory offer. Get 10 weeks of the journal for just $36 and your free copy of the Guide to Personal Finance. Call 800-228-5600. That's 800-228-5600.
George Brown here. Just want you to know about the cut rates at Brown & Company, the deep discount broker. Who do those other guys think they're kidding? At Brown, you'll pay up to 75% less than you'd pay Schwab, Fidelity, or Quick & Riley. 75% less. But only if you have the experience it takes to trade with us. Call for our free information kit, and we'll see how sharp you are. Brown & Company, Chicago's really deep discount broker.
Audrey and I have more news for you now on the wrap-up. U.S. economic growth in 1994 will run near 3%, and inflation, though restrained, may pick up late in the year. That's according to the Livingston survey published by the Philadelphia Fed. It's a survey of 61 economists, and they are in government, academia, as well as business. They expect the consumer price index to increase by 3.6%. Over the next 10 years. The CPI will rise at an annual rate of 3.1% through June and 3.3% in the second half of the year. They say the real gross domestic product will hit 4% growth in the fourth quarter of 93, first half of 94. GDP growth would go back to 2.8, rising to 2.9 in the second half. Unemployment is expected to fall to 6.2 by the end of the year. End of 94, that is, and they see long-term interest rates getting to about 6.4%.
Bill Clinton's senior foreign policy advisors are close to agreeing on recommending an end to the U.S. trade embargo against Vietnam. But because of the sensitivity of the issue, they've decided to sound out key members of the president's team before making a proposal to the president.
The 8,000 pilots for UAL's United Airlines are expected to approve an employee ownership plan that trades wage cuts and work rule changes for a majority stake in the company. An official of the Airline Pilots Association said, based on the members I've talked to, they seem very enthusiastic. There's some with a different perspective, but the large majority is supportive.
New long-term municipal issues set a record volume in 1993, totaling $287.39 billion. That's an increase of 24% over 1992.
Stepping up the pressure on brash radio host Howard Stern, the U.S. government has delayed approval of 3 deals by Stern's employer, Infinity Broadcasting. They're going to delay the purchase of 3 big radio stations, according to the New York Times. The FCC is delaying a vote on whether to approve the purchases because of the constant complaints about Stern's sexually explicit morning radio programs. If the reported delay lasts into the new year, it could cost Infinity millions of dollars in financial penalties and missed deadlines in the purchases worth $170 million.
A strong U.S. housing market and tight lumber supplies could result in record high U.S. lumber prices in early 1994. Some industry analysts say that 1994 is going to be a very good year, as all the reports are indicating.
NAFTA is to go into effect tomorrow. Long-established trade barriers between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada are to start tumbling down Saturday when the North American Free Trade Agreement goes into effect. The implementation of NAFTA will mean immediate disappearance of taxes on many goods, while other trade barriers are to be phased out over the next 15 years. No one expects the borders between the three countries to be instantly glutted with trucks bringing in a rush of goods, but some of the benefits will be immediate. Government study says 84% of Mexican imports to the U.S. will be immediately free of taxes versus 46% of U.S. goods going into Mexico. 15 years, all goods going both ways should be duty-free.
U.S. medical device and supply companies face another tough year in 1994, according to analysts, after pricing pressures and the threat of healthcare reform squeezed profits and sparked the steepest decline in the stocks in recent memory in 1993.
And CBL Medical has filed for protection under Chapter 11. Gretel Investment Research has downgraded all of the retailing stocks on the Gretel Superfied list to neutral. They cited a more cautious outlook for specialty retailers. The downgrade followed the resignation of retailing analyst Tom Philandro. The stocks include discount retailers Bradley, Kmart, Venture, Caldor, Value City, and Walmart. Also downgraded specialty retailers Charming Shops, Designs, The Limited Spiegel, Close Time, The Gap, and Merry-Go-Round. Durable goods sales are strong, but soft lines are below par. Now at 3:22, let's go to Steve Ruxton for the last time this year for a look at the actives. Steve?
Thank you, Jack. Most active today on the big board, leading the way, AT&T unchanged at 52 5/8. Walmart down a quarter to 25. RJR Nabisco down 1/8 to 6 3/8. Merck down 3/8 to 34 3/8. Stonekid Tater down 1 3/8 to 9 5/8. Leading the way on the NASDAQ, MCI Communications up 1 1/4 to 28 1/4. Cisco down 1 1/8 to 64 5/8. Microsoft down a quarter to 32 1/2. Novell off 1/8 to 20 3/4. And Intel down 1 to 62. Jack and Audrey now have ratings.
Ross Systems had its rating and estimates cut. Prudential Securities analyst Michael Schmidt cut the rating on Ross to hold from buy, and the earnings estimates for the company for the years ended June 94 and June 95. Company said yesterday revenues and earnings for the second quarter should be well under expectations. He lowered his estimate for the year ending June of 94 to 20 cents from 50 cents, and for the following year to 57 cents from 70 cents. And Ross was up 3/8 to 6 1/2. Centurior Energy. Oppenheimer initiating coverage of Centurior Energy with an analyst buy, and Centurior was up 3/4 to 13 1/4. Smith Barney Shearson initiated coverage of Diagnostek with an outperformed Diagnostek unchanged at 19. Audrey?
Prudential Securities cut its rating on PowerSoft Corporation to hold from buy, primarily due to the appreciation in the company's stock price. PowerSoft, apparently we don't have any figures for that. And Raymond James said that they initiated coverage of Rohertz with a buy rating. PowerSoft down 7/8 at 40 3/4, and Roberts up 3/8 at 14 3/4. Jack?
Yes, Audrey. And now for the final time in 93, a last look at the final figures. How are we winding up the year, Kurt?
Well, Jack, not too well. Started out nice this week. Looked like a rally week. We were up 35. We hit 3 records in a row the first 3 days of the week on the Dow. But since then, been a little bit weak, and we had the other indexes, though, like the AMEX and the NASDAQ, strong today, but the Dow was weak. Let's take a look at the final numbers as we saw selling in the blue chips late in the day, down 21.23 at 3754.65. Bookkeeping is normally slow on a day like this. This figure is from Standard & Poor's Comstock. Reuters is saying 3754.09, so these numbers are unofficial. Transport's down 3.64, utilities down 0.86. The records for all-time came 2 days ago on the daily basis, December 29th, 3794.33. The actual or print intraday high came the same day at 3799.92. And here are the figures for the week. The Dow was down 3.07. That late close gave us a losing week despite Monday and despite all the records set earlier in the week, down 0.08%. For the month of December, a gain of 70.70 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, or 1.92%. For the fourth quarter of 1993, a gain of 199.53 points, or 5.61%. For the final half of the year, a gain of 238.57 points, or 6.79%. And for the entire year, 1993, the Dow gained 453.54 points, or 13.74%. 3-month bills, Yale 3.06, 30-year bonds 6.35, Fed funds at 3% even. Those changes on the Dow we showed you for the year and other periods were based on Comstock's figures, the ones we normally show you on the screen. Now, each day at this time, we get a live report from the American Stock Exchange. Standing by is Tom Mariam. Well, Tom, at least it was looking good on your exchange.
Indeed, American Stock Exchange issues closed out a shining year on a very bright note. The AMEX market value index jumped 4.60, closing at 477.15 for the year. The index jumped 19.5%, the biggest gain by any major market index. There were 430 stocks up on the day, 233 down. Volume topped 18 million shares, which is active for a holiday like this. Janbell Marketing, the most active stock on New Year's Eve, closed at 9 3/8 up an eighth. Then Cheyenne Software, 27 5/8 up an eighth. Exploration Company of Louisiana, 9 16 unchanged. Neighbors Industries, 7 7/8 up 3/4. And Spiders, 46 19 32, down a quarter point. From Chicago, Atlanta, U.S. Cellular, 35 up a point. AM International, 9 5/8 down an eighth. Revell Monogram, 6 3/4 up 1/8. Telephone and Data Systems, 52 1/8 up 1 3/8. IVAX, 28 3/4 up an eighth. Continental Materials, 8 unchanged. Wells Gardner Electronics, 4 up 5/16. F.A. Tucker Group, 2 1/4 unchanged. And from the emerging company marketplace, PC Quote, 2 1/8 unchanged. I'm Tom Mariam, wishing everyone a Happy New Year from the American Stock Exchange.
And coming up on Monday, 8:48, Commodity Call AM with Craig Corcoran. Early call with Liam Dalton at 8:56. 9 o'clock, Business Newsmakers, John Taylor, Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications for Zenith Electronics. Martin J. Lawrence at 9:30, the General Manager of the Drake Hotel. Global View with Dave Allman, 9:55. Market Talk with Lou Ehrenkrantz at 10:06. 10:17, Morning Analysis featuring Al Frank. Sean Davis at 10:30, President of Micro Business Systems. Market Talk with Hugh Johnson, 10:55. 11:05, Commodity Call Midday with Jack Barbanel. Economic Outlook with Robert Diedrich, 11:17. 11:30, an interview with John Carter Adams, the Executive Director of the Olive Branch. Market Talk with Ray Hines, 12:06. Jack Lasday will be here at 12:20, Ask an Expert. The Gold and Silver Emporium, 12:53. Women in Business at Denise Watson, the Principal of Watson Morton Public Relations. Market Sentiment, Rich Ishida at 1:23. 1:30, an interview with William Pearson, the President of Argus Industries. Commodity Call PM, Dennis Gartman, 2:06. Fund Watch with Dan Sullivan at 2:17. 2:30, an interview with Charles Carlson, the editor of Dow Theory Forecasts, and 3:09, the Richard May Report. Jack, Kurt, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Audrey, and to you, Kurt. And we wish all of you good health and great happiness in the coming year. And I may borrow a toast from my friend Jack Brickhouse. May the best thing that happened to you in 1993 be the worst that happens in 1994. See you Monday. Bye now.